So our next guest is Zahra, who's, I believe you're a refugee from Afghanistan.
Originally, yes.
Originally, yes. And
now we've got British, so...
Okay. One of your films is being shown here. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, the film's about a project that I work with. It's a children's circus in Afghanistan, and we basically teach children circus and do art therapy, and also teach them to read and write and maths and basic kind of education as well, and also feed and clothe them, and look after about 450 kids every day, and in the winter it goes up to about 800 children.
So what is life like in Afghanistan now?
It depends where you are, but wherever you are, it's not very good, I guess.
Did it used to be better?
Not in the last 25 years, no.
Right. Because Brig, you were out there. What was it like when you were there?
Well, that's going back more than 25
Yes.
years. You know, I was there in 72, 73, 76, 77.
Right.
Back when they had the Shah, in Iran next door. Iran next door was run by the CIA. They don't tell you that now. But it was, and they had a secret policeman behind every lamppost.
But in Afghanistan
was playing a very subtle game of being in the middle. I mean, they got two big roads in Afghanistan, one that goes from east to west and one goes from north to south, and they got the Americans to build the east-west one and the Russians to build the north-south one.
Well, do you think?
But it was a lovely time then, and us young hippies used to come out with our backpacks overland and go from one town to another through Afghanistan, sampling the local produce and buying Afghan coats and
sampling the local produce.
Yes. And they were lovely people, really welcoming, really beautiful time.
Zahra, would it be possible for someone to do this now?
It would be, and people still do it, but it's maybe not as easy as it was in the 70s. Lots of reasons, like one of the main things, if you're walking across Afghanistan, it's the most mined country in the world at the moment. So a lot of mountaineering people, and they just wouldn't be able to climb the same mountains anymore, or walk along the same paths anymore. And I think as long as anyone traveling through there communicates with the local people, you don't really need language either. They will communicate if you want to communicate. Then they will give you the appropriate warnings about where is safe and when it's safe.
So your film, you was this your first film or?
Yes, it's my first film.
Okay.
And basically I was given a camera and some really good equipment and given the chance to film. So I did, although I never intended maybe to originally make a film, but it was a really good opportunity, I guess, to show something different in Afghanistan as opposed to what's usually shown in the news and in the media. I don't think it's, not only is it negative, but I don't think it's very accurate or doesn't really reflect what's going on there. I think it just confuses people with all the information they bombard you. Nobody can really make sense of what's going on there.
Okay, maybe we can just show a short clip of the film.
اینجا کار کردن در بخش‌های مختلف بودن در نظر هنر یک دفعه تمرین کردن مادام یک هنری که علاقه‌مندی زیاد داشتن در اون هنر خود رساندن و به اکثریت رسیدن که سفرهای داشتن به خارج و نمایش‌های داشتن به خارج. ما هر اطفالی که اینجا بیایم ما دعوت میکنیم که هموناشون کار کنیم و هموناشون ما زحمت میکنیم بخاطر که اطفال از وطن ماست که آینده بتونن یک چیزی بیاموزن با وطن و با مردم از این طریق خدمت کنن. یک آرزوی ماست که باید هر اطفال افغان باید یک چیزی یاد داشته باشه و درس یک هنر هم باید داشته باشن که خدمت به وطن بکنن.
It was interesting what you were saying about the way that the news coverage of Afghanistan and so on depersonalizes all the Afghanis.
Yes.
Any British soldier gets killed, you see pictures of his weeping family and pictures of the soldier, and they're set in a human context.
Yes.
But an Afghani dying is just
It's
another
invisible.
statistic.
It's a statistic,
It's invisible.
yes.
They're not real people.
Yes, well, it doesn't really, I guess, serve the country that's, or a government that's claiming war on the people to then show them as human beings that they're killing. So it does kind of make political sense, but it doesn't make human sense.
So,
And that's what we try to show. I
okay,
think.
do you think there's hope in Afghanistan? Do you think it can get better? Or, difficult question, I know.
It is,
Or what
yeah.
can people do to make life for Afghani people better in the West?
In the West, maybe don't support all the big corrupt NGOs that pretend that they're going to help and they don't. I don't really know what people could do because I don't find that the British people or American people really have much power over their governments anyway. I mean, it doesn't really matter which prime minister or president is in power, they always end up doing the same thing anyway. So I don't even know if voting for the right politician would make a difference because I don't see that voting really makes any difference in the West. So I think...
You've been there, you know, in your opinion, would Afghanistan be better off if our troops weren't there?
Not necessarily, no. I think the problem with the American troops, maybe if they're out, it would be much more positive. The British troops really aren't as bad as the American troops. But the real problem is that they've put in power all of these crazy criminal warlords. And now if they pull out, these warlords will just cause, will just massacre all the people. And it's not good that the troops, some of the troops are playing a positive role, like especially from certain peacekeeping troops, but most of them are private armies, and so when there's a war there, it gives them a reason to be there. If it's peaceful, then they have no role. But it's so complicated. It's really difficult to give an answer to this. Really.
Yes, I understand. Do you have a next project you'd like to work on with film?
With film, I think film is really powerful way of communicating with people, and especially in countries like Afghanistan where it's like 98% illiterate. The only thing that they can understand really is through media like film. So I think through seeing how powerful it's been, I would like to continue with film.
So what sort of film would you make? What's your perfect film you'd like to do next?
The next film I'd like to make, it's quite a controversial film actually.
Okay.
You want to know?
Tell us about it, go on.
Well, it would be based in Afghanistan as well. When I was out there last time, we were speaking to a few different returnees from Guantanamo Bay, and they were very, very depressed. None of them were Taliban, and they were taken by the Americans spontaneously and taken to Guantanamo, kept there for 3 to 4 years, returned completely traumatized, and all they wanted to do was just bomb themselves and take a few Americans with them. And actually in the last 2 years there's been 4 suicide bombers that were ex-Guantanamo Bay detainees or returnees from there. And I guess the people in Afghanistan feel like America's sending them back live bombs, and there's a lot of conspiracies, understandably, from the Afghan side that they're taking people that were in no way related to the Taliban or Al-Qaeda, taking them there, making them crazy, and sending them back as human bombs.
So they're
to
creating
us.
terrorism.
Well, from the Afghan point of view, the terrorists at the moment in Afghanistan are created by the Americans.
Okay. On that subject, we've got to wrap up because we're out of time. Thank you very much both for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
tune in again on Vision on TV.